On the 24th of September, it was Heritage Day. It was also my son's 9th birthday. As with many mothers I know who are mothers via adoption, we, or I, and along with others, do tend to think about the birth mother, the woman who gave birth to that child on that day. For me, because I don't know where she is, I wonder, is she any better? Are things still as bad as they seem to have been? Will things ever get better? And because things are this bad as I knew them to be, what is she doing to survive now? Is someone taking advantage of her? And I mean as in not full on trafficking like they do when they say come to be a domestic worker, and then when you go for the interview the man says, okay, can you strip naked? And then you realize you're not only here to be a domestic worker but an entertainer. But in another sense of being trafficked, you can be used by your boss. There are multiple stories in South Africa where the woman is so desperate to keep the job that she will sleep with the boss no matter how awful she feels about it. Because as many of us know, here in Africa we don't have a welfare system. If you're unemployed, you are stuck. If you're disabled and unemployed, you get a small amount of money. Anyway, it's not enough to keep you living. Same with the pension. It's not enough to fulfill all your needs, to meet all your needs as a pensioner. We are struggling. Without a job, you are dead, like literally dead. Unless you've got a large family that is caring, then if each person gives you what they can, you'll be fine. But we don't have that. Sometimes not only because we don't have large families that love, but also because they too are struggling. So if you don't have a job, you are dead. And it's extremely difficult to find a job. And so we have extremely sad cases of mothers, children dying of starvation in South Africa. Third, the cause of death in a third of child deaths in South Africa. A whole third of child deaths is caused by malnutrition. 15,000 children per year are diagnosed with chronic malnutrition. They don't die, but they are stunted in growth, stunted in intellect, and suffering illness due to that malnutrition. 62.1% of children are experiencing multi-dimensional poverty. They have inadequate housing or no housing at all, poor or non-existent nutrition, and education might as well not even exist. And we see this, and this is why most children who are placed for adoption are Black, besides the fact that we are the majority. We are the majority and we are the poorest of the country. We're the least employed in the country as well, though we make up the highest percentage. We make up the lowest percentage employed, but we also are the least, but we also have the lowest paying jobs as well. The white average salary is 21,000 rand. 21,000 rand. The black average salary is the lowest of them all, 4,600 rand.
Who make this?
I don't know. Okay, hold on. 21,000 rand that those people get, and only 4,000. And that is above, it's below even one proper rental space. One rental flat. You won't find a good one. Just one room flat or apartment, as some people call it in their countries. So, where is she? I have no idea. I don't even know if she's not only her mental state is, but I don't even know if she is neurodiverse or neurotypical. Is she neurodivergent or neurotypical? I have no clue. I can't even picture what her mind is like, if it's working well. As I mentioned before, I did try and get in touch with someone who seems to be her sister, and she seems to have other children, more than the one we were told. Why? What caused that? Is it just forgetfulness? There could be many reasons why someone who might be mentally of a lower intellect might have many children, besides just being careless, hoping that this one will stay with you, etc. So I don't know how she is, and that is a gift I have, and I'm so thankful for with my other child's birth mother. I am thankful that she's in her life for her own sake and for mine, because I worry about these people. There's a reason they placed their children for adoption. Do those reasons still exist today? Unfortunately, for many, the answer remains yes, even decades later. There's a book I've been reading, which I finished recently. It's called Practically Almost a Virgin. Let me check the title. Practically Still a Virgin by Monica Hall. Practically Still a Virgin by Monica Hall. And it's one of those, I've never read one like this before, where she is an adoptee. She was placed for adoption. She was adopted, and then she had to place her child for adoption as well. She was young. Unlike the other book I read, she was a teenager when she fell pregnant. And the still a virgin thing, it's a long story. I want you to read it. Buy it for yourself if you've got the money. But she was raped, and she had been a virgin all along. She had been holding on to her virginity. Friends were losing it left, right, and center, or giving it up. And she said, no, I am going to be a virgin. She was like tough girl, mean girl, but I'm going to be the mean girl who still is a virgin until some guy came along. There's going to be a twist. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, but yes. Unfortunately, she was raped and she fell pregnant, and she's a product. So her baby was a product of rape, and she had to give her up, and she didn't want to. The pain she felt was tremendous. And this is a pain I had tried to show to other people who look down on birth mothers as if God doesn't forgive their sins, only their sins. These hippo Christians, pseudo Christians, whose sins are the only ones worthy of being forgiven, but other people, their sins don't deserve to be forgiven. Their mistakes don't deserve to be corrected. They don't deserve sympathy and empathy. That kind of Christian. So I used to share that these are humans whose stories are deep and painful, and many don't place their child with any sense of pride and joy. So yeah, in the book, I sent this part to my child's birth mother, because we have that kind of relationship, and I'm so thankful for it. And it was lovely to see how a birth mother feels about being in such a relationship. I see many adoptees who find their birth mothers, who look for their birth mothers. Sometimes they find them too late, and they don't find them, but they find out they're deceased by the time they search. I've seen adoptees who want to find, but their adoptive parents are upset and hate it. They're the adoptive parents who support. You can tell I would be the supportive type. And what is also one thing I will add is, in this is what we've always said. I said to the social worker who was upset with me that I made contact with the birth mom, because she was saying, oh, your child is going to be, I'm confused about who's the mom, etc. This author makes it clear that her daughter wanted to find her. Her daughter's adoptive parents were the mother was extremely supportive. So by the time she actually went to the social workers to look for her daughter, with her mother's help, had already been searching for her as well. The father, yeah, he was scared. He was honestly scared that his daughter would no longer love them, because of that primal bond that you have with the person who gave birth to you. And we know that bond. We've seen it in many of us who have actually been abused, but because we live with them and they gave birth to us, we love them anyway. So yeah, she builds a relationship with her daughter that she placed for adoption when they've reached 18. The daughter had reached age 18, and as she states, the relationship wasn't a mother-daughter. She herself had a daughter who she kept after this, and she wasn't looking to replace or add on a daughter. Her daughter also wasn't looking to add on another mother. Their relationship was auntie-niece. Share all the jokes and the stuff, that kind of stuff, the things you share with the best friend. But her mom, her adoptive mom, would always and ever be her mom. And that was okay with everyone. all of them. So I sent this part. The people who oversaw the placement of this author's baby it was a nun. It was sisters. So sister, when it mentions sister, it means the nun who helped place the baby. And Pat, who I will mention, Pat is the adoptive mother's name. The adoptive mother of the child who was placed for adoption. Not the author's adoptive mother's name, but her daughter's adoptive mother's name is Pat. So she writes, by then, Pat and I had developed a relationship. That's also something I'm not sure is rare. I'm not sure it's common in South Africa, where where both mothers form a relationship. Sometimes I see more where the children search and then that's it. I have a relationship with this woman as my aunt or whatever, but the other mom is not there. The two mothers don't form a bond, but they did. So it already from that reminded me of the bond I have with my daughter's birth mother. By then, Pat and I had developed a relationship. I loved it when she'd call in the early years after Mary came out to meet me. Mary is the daughter. To say in pretend shock, "Do you know what your daughter did today?" She was so kind and treated me as an equal. She must have sensed I needed that. We've had many long talks over the years, and I felt sister couldn't have picked a better mother for my daughter. Forever mother. I know my girl's mother doesn't want that. I am mom. I'm the only mother. But we can't forget the fact that she gave birth to her. My daughter heard her voice. She smelled her smells. She was the other mother. So I sent that excerpt to her and I said, this is part of a book by an adoptee who ended up pregnant as a teen and placed her baby for adoption too. This reminds me of us joking that you can take crazy Amy. And then I explained who the people are who are named. There was a time when Amrisa had just gone nuttier than she usually is. And we were just tearing our hair out. What do we do with this girl? You can't even ask her, why did you do it? Because she'll say, I don't know. And it was just one after another. She did this, she did that, she made this mess, she cut that. And I sent a text to my husband and I said, what am I going to do with her? And his response was, send her to a mother. And you see, I didn't even feel any, but I am the mother. I know many mothers feel that, but we know that she has two mothers. I am the mother, and I know there's the other mother. So I sent the screenshot to the birth mother, almost named her by name. And she laughed and she's like, no way, I've got enough. Because I sent the screenshot and I said, given you already have a whole lot on your plate, would you like to add some more craziness to your plate? So that is the screenshot that I'm referring to. And I said, it reminds me of us joking that you can take crazy at me. That's the relationship I have. And her response was, oh sis, I love you so much. God knew who to place her daughter with. I don't want to spoil the book. It's a beautiful, heart-rending, twisting and turning book. But I was left with a warm feeling. Warm because I'm glad there are other mothers like me. I hate the pain that is caused on children when they want to search for their roots, just for their heritage. They want information. They're not saying, I hate you, mom, and I want to leave you, even though some deserve that because they are cruel. In the same way biological families become estranged, in the same way adult children divorce their parents legally, it obviously will happen in adoptive families. So those stories hurt. If you're an adoptive mom who wants to see how it works out, read this. If you are an adoptee, read this. You might not know, you might be worried, your birth mother might not care, and there are many stories of rejection. But there's also hope. She might really be very interested, not only her, but her parents as well. There are all sorts of stories out there. I pray and hope that yours will be a good story. And as for me, I wish both my children's stories could be like that. I wish we too could talk with both mothers over the years, like they did and like I've done so far. It is most fulfilling to be part of each person's life. As I said for a different video, if a child can have multiple aunts and uncles, a child can have space to love her mom, and her birth mom. And she created it. That's the thing. In most of these stories, that's exactly how they do it. The other mom, the birth mom, doesn't become an extra mom or the primary mom. The other mom who sang to her, who raised her, who taught her, who helped her, who dressed her, is ever and forever the mom, if she was a loving mom. And they don't want to replace us. They just want to find their missing piece. As for the author's mother, adoptive father, you also need to read the book for that. I won't reveal what kind of parenting she had, but that's for you to find out if you can. I just wanted to say, on behalf of all the other adoptive mothers who are open, and you might be a birth mother who's not sure, we are willing to look for you. We are willing to have you in our children's lives. And sometimes it's not us who are the problem, it's your children who you've placed. I wish I could close all the wounds, heal everything, but adoption is built on loss. And I know different people deal with the loss differently. So to you, birth mother, I hope that if you are coming to the point where you search, I'm not perfect, but I know I am exactly what my child's birth mother needed. And I hope that when you find your children, they will be mothered or fathered by exactly the kind of person or people not only they needed, but you as well. That is my hope.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mickey. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray!
You're waking up now, eh?